system, but the bill is only halfway there. It still needs to make its way through the Senate. Joining me now from Capitol Hill to discuss the fate of financial reform is Senator Ted Kaufman of Delaware. Senator, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Do the Democrats have the votes, Senator? Do they have the votes?
Well, I think that the Democrats have the votes, but I'm not sure of the Republicans, and that's really what it's going to come down to. I think the Democrats have the votes. We may lose one or two Democrats, but the key is we've got to get to 60 votes because I'm pretty sure the Republicans are going to filibuster, so we need to pick up some Republicans in order to get the filibuster. Once we get past the filibuster, we'll have plenty of votes to pass this bill, but it's just getting the 60 votes we need to move to the bill.
But in terms of when I said Democrats, since it's a Democrat bill, are the votes there to pass it right now?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Oh, the votes are there to pass it if we can get to it. As you know, what has happened this year on practically every bill, the Republicans have filibustered and forced us to get 60 votes in order to move to the bill. But we have well over 50 votes to pass it. It's just a matter of whether we can get enough Republicans to vote to close down the filibuster, and that's really what the test is.
Do you need to make a change to it, and what?
Well, they've made a number of changes. I'm not at all happy with this process. You know, we're in a situation where they actually literally have to negotiate with 1, 2, or 3 senators and put things into the bills that they want, and that's not good legislating. And I think it's a shame that the Republicans haven't been stepping forward more and said, look, we're going to come up with a bipartisan bill. But no, they're negotiating with individual senators. Scott Brown had some provision he wanted for Massachusetts, and others had individual decisions on why they wouldn't vote for it. A number of Republicans have now said they will vote for it, but it's just the standard legislative process. Somebody much wiser than me said neither legislation nor sausage should be made in public. It's a particularly ugly process.
Well, there was one particular sticking point. I was working the phones earlier that someone mentioned to me, not in government, outside of it, but there's no exemption for big corporations, say Caterpillar and Boeing, and they're going to have to post collateral on existing derivatives positions. I heard a number thrown out. It could cost, what, $400 billion thereabouts. Do you worry about that becoming an even more troublesome spot in the weeks that you're out?
Right. No, I worry about that, but we're not going to pass it. We are definitely not going to pass it before we go out. I don't think. I think in the derivatives area, we pretty well cut the derivatives area. It's not anywhere near what I think he was probably talking about, which was the original Blanche Lincoln bill, which I don't even think did that. I mean, what we're trying to do is avoid loopholes where people, as you know, in all of us, but especially on Wall Street, if there's a loophole, somebody will find a way to go through it. And so they were trying to do that in terms of end users. But I think the main bill will allow us to see what's going on in the derivatives market, which is absolutely key to avoid what happened before.
Another concern among people in finance and in these industries is the fact they see this as a plan for plans, and ultimately the power winds up at the hands of commissions and regulators. So who are going to be the regulators, Senator?
Right. Well, Dagan, look, let's go back to square one on this. You know, we practically destroyed the financial system of the United States. We practically destroyed the world financial system. My main concern about this bill is we have credible markets, and what we had is regulators. We had no regulation. Some people, I think this bill does not overregulate. That was one of my big concerns, but we absolutely positively need regulation. And I'll just give you one example. This is not complicated stuff. Washington Mutual, 90% of their equity home loans were liar loans, what they call state income loans, and the Office of Thrift Supervision, the head of it, and 25% of everything they were regulating was Washington Mutual. They did nothing about it. 63% of their ARM loans were liar loans, and 52% of their low-cost loans were, subprime loans were. So we're talking about regulation just to get cops on the field in order to make sure that, when we have a Bernie Madoff, there's somebody there, a cop there saying, hey, wait a minute.
But then why isn't the Justice Department prosecuting the people who lied to get those mortgages?
By the way, absolutely right. The Justice Department is prosecuting, and we got money. One of the things I'm proudest of in my term in the Senate was getting money to do that. But we're not just talking about prosecuting. Liar loans, accepting liar loans may or may not be fraud. But I'm just saying you need a regulator to say you can't have 90% of your loans be liar loans. And that went on the same thing, the oversight of derivatives. I mean, you know, just read any of the books, and I mean the good books and the bad, all of them. There was no regulation. Basically, it was a theory. It was a theory. It's the same theory that got us into trouble in the Gulf.
Senator,
we didn't have to regulate BP.
Really quickly,
yeah.
your term is coming to an end. What are you doing when you leave the Senate? What are you going to do?
I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. I had a good life. I'm doing some teaching. I've been teaching at Duke Law School. I'll do some writing. I'll be on some, you know, nonprofit boards. I mean, you know, I had a good life before I became a senator. It's been a great 2 years being a senator. But I must say I'm looking forward to getting back to a life where I can do a little more normal thinking and things like that, you know, Dagan. But this has been great. This has really been wonderful, and it's an opportunity that I mean, it's just a great, great opportunity.
I didn't mean to rush you out the door, Senator. You still got some time.
By the way, I still got some stuff to do.
Okay, Senator. Well, I look forward to talking to you.
I always enjoy being on with you, Dagan. That's one thing.
I look forward to talking to you again, Senator Ted Kaufman of Delaware.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Still to come this hour, America's oldest postal worker finally retires. How old